Everybody, multiple state lawmakers are proposing new stimulus payments for workers. And White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki is worried that lawmakers in the Senate will not pass President Biden's new infrastructure plan. There is a ton of things going on right now, everybody, in Congress. And this means that we might get a fourth stimulus payment sooner than later. Be sure to stay until the end of this video to not miss out on the very important stimulus news.
The lack of climate action as well, I think adding to the severe lowering of our scope and scale and what we're seeking to do on ambition, I doubt it, frankly, in the current state of that proposal. And I think one of the things that's really important to communicate is that this isn't just 1.7 trillion. This is about an overall investment spread out over anywhere between 8 to 10 years.
And Africa. And I'm deeply gratified that as an alliance, we adopted a far-reaching plan to make sure NATO can meet the challenges that we face today and in the future, not yesterday.
Now, already 80 plus members of Congress have put themselves out there in support of a fourth stimulus check, and maybe even more. Most recently, 7 Democrats on the powerful House Ways and Means Committee wrote President Biden that an additional 2 stimulus checks would keep 12 million people out of poverty. Democrats who want to provide more stimulus aid have new ammunition for their fight, and that is a study of census survey data done by the University of Michigan. It shows the latest 2 rounds of federal assistance helped keep Americans fed, housed, and mentally healthy. Now, these researchers found that from January through April, households with children reporting food shortages and financial instability dropped by between 20 and 42%. Other research from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York has found that about 13% of stimulus cash is now used for essential spending, including groceries and housing, but more of it is being devoted toward debt and savings.
There's a minimum tax, and I'm going to move on this at home as well. Minimum tax for corporations to pay for the profits they make anywhere in the world. And this agreement is going to help arrest the race to the bottom that's been going on.
It's not just policymakers who see value in more stimulus checks. A Change.org petition calling for $2,000 checks for adults and $1,000 for children has collected close to 2.34 million signatures. While Congress was away on recess, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki talked about a fourth stimulus check by saying President Biden would be open to the idea. Jen Psaki told reporters during the White House press briefing that he's happy to hear from a range of ideas on what would be most effective and what's most important to the economy moving forward. Biden's spokeswoman also said that the president has proposed the things he believes will be most effective for putting people back to work, making the country more competitive, and getting through the current pivotal period. Now, those proposals include the packages now in front of Congress to spend trillions of dollars to fix America's roads, bridges, and other infrastructure, and to provide more benefits to U.S. families. Congress's full return from its recess could definitely mean that a fourth stimulus check will be passed soon, after spending $3.5 trillion keeping the economy alive for the past 15 months. Many members of Congress, including some Democrats, support giving more direct aid to Americans, especially with the expansion of the child tax credit. And that rescue bill that President Biden signed back in March received zero support from Republicans. It survived because of an arcane process that allows certain bills to pass the Senate with a simple majority vote of 51 instead of 60. Now, Democrats have been given the green light to use this maneuver once more this year, so they can insert another batch of stimulus payments into a spending bill that combines both Biden's infrastructure and families plan. That way, no Republican support will be needed. It is a controversial strategy, considering Biden's stated desire for bipartisanship, but the president may feel that he has no choice. And labor leaders and some Democratic lawmakers, folks, have been pushing to use money from the latest stimulus relief bill to reward essential workers for their work during a crisis. The $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan that Congress approved in March authorizes states to spend some more of the stimulus money to reward essential workers and get others back to the jobs. The essential worker bonus would be $2,000 for workers whose base pay was less than a state's average wage in 2019, or $1,000 for workers earning more than the average but less than 150% of it. Workers making more than 150% of the state average will receive no bonus. The proposed legislation lists 17 categories of eligible job categories. Among them include healthcare, education, agriculture, food, energy, and transportation. So yes, everybody, I just hope that our politicians step up to the plate and help out the American people like you and I. There are many Americans across the country that are in a bad situation, so a fourth stimulus check would definitely help them out. In fact, it could possibly even change their life. And if you guys believe that a fourth stimulus check must be sent out, then let's get this video to 1,000 likes. As always, everybody, I truly appreciate your amazing support. Until next time, have a great day and stay safe.
I would very much appreciate your help in getting this video widely distributed. Please share it with your friends, family, and coworkers. The more we raise public consciousness in this country, the better we do and the better our nation does. The issue that I'd like to touch upon today is Social Security, perhaps the most important federal program in existence, a program of enormous consequence.
And that we agreed to fully resource that agenda. The last time NATO put together a strategic plan was back in 2010, when Russia was considered a partner and China wasn't even mentioned. We talked about the long-term systemic challenges that China's activities pose to our collective security today. We agreed to do more to enhance the resilience of our critical infrastructures around the world, including trusted telecommunications providers, supply chains, and energy networks. We agreed to enhance our cooperation with our democratic partners in the Indo-Pacific to meet challenges that exist there. We also endorsed a new cyber defense policy, NATO's first in the past 7 years, to improve the collective ability to defend against counter threats from state and non-state actors against our networks and our critical infrastructure. And we adopted a climate security action plan, which several years ago people thought we never would do, for reducing emissions from NATO installations and adapting to the security risks of climate change while keeping us sharp, very, very sharp on our ability to deter and defend against threats. And finally, we agreed that among the most important shared missions is renewing and strengthening the resilience of our democracies. I pointed out we have to prove to the world and to our own people that democracy can still prevail against the challenges of our time and deliver for the needs of our people. We have to root out corruption that siphons off our strength, guard against those who would stoke hatred and division for political gain, this phony populism, invest in strengthening the institutions that